Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Yeah.
What's up? Happy Friday. This is Run It Back. My name is Michelle. That's Lou. Moment of silence for our fallen compadre. What's going on, Lou? Whatever, Chandler. We'll see you on Monday, sir. But we do have Sam Amick on today. Bobby Portis should be joining us a little bit later as well. And on top of that, of course, we've got a basketball game to react to from last night. Obviously, no Steph Curry. Bit of a problem, but it proved to be a pretty big problem, actually. A 117-93 loss problem for the Warriors. Timberwolves bounced back and finished with 29 and 5. Randall with 24. Kuminga had 18 points and 5 rebounds and actually led the team in scoring. Timberwolves weren't playing yesterday, Lou. They came out, they controlled and led basically every quarter. Never, ever even gave Golden State some breathing room to think they were getting back in this one. I know the Timberwolves have been one of about a handful of teams that we sort of looked at side-eyed throughout the season because we weren't quite sure what to make of them. But this roster seems like they are pretty good as far as playoff strength goes. Is that what you're seeing?
Yeah, you got to give them a lot of credit. You know, they got a lot of moving parts that they can plug in that works for them on both sides of the ball. You know, on an offensive end, obviously you got Ant-Man, now Julius Randle, he's finding his stride. They're finding ways to get other guys involved in offense. McDaniels, Alexander coming off the bench, obviously Naz Reid, DiVincenzo. All of these guys can go get you a bucket. And then defensively, you know, like I said, when they go to that small ball lineup, they got a lot of different guys that can guard 1 through 5, and it just works for them. And another big thing that's going for Minnesota that you're starting to see affect other teams, they're healthy. Like they have all of their guys in the lineup, and in playoff basketball, that's what you want. You want to be at 100% with all of your guys in the lineup, even though Ant-Man is dealing with an ankle injury, and all of these guys are going to have little knickknacks and things that's going to label them as banged up. But other than that, this is a team that's moving full strength, and you can see that in the bounce-back win last night.
I save the Anthony Edwards thing because I do have questions about that, and we're going to get to him in a second. But Julius Randle is such it's a feel-good part of this entire thing, right? We all know his days in the Knicks and the playoffs there, and people weren't happy with him, and he seemed to sort of crumble sometimes under the hate of everything or the height of everything. 24 points, 11 assists, 7 rebounds. That would make him the first Timberwolves since the great Kevin Garnett to do a 25 and 10 in a playoff game situation. So I don't know if it's change of scenery, Lou. I don't know if perhaps not everyone's cut out for Madison Square Garden, but he seems to be thriving right now.
No, it's just situation. You gotta find your groove. Like we're talking about Madison Square Garden. Remember, he started with the Lakers. Like so. Yeah. You just gotta find an organization and find a group of guys that the way that you play it matches, right? Like at first when he came into the league, he was like a bull in a china shop. He still has some of that in his style of play, but he's a bruiser. He's a bully type of player. And you got to find a rhythm. You got to find a group of guys where that makes sense. And that's the style of play that the team goes about it. And Minnesota is that for him. You know, like New York Knicks, Lakers, they weren't those style of basketball teams. That wasn't their brand of basketball. Now in Minnesota, he got other pit bulls around him. He got other guys that are like-minded and his style of play fits, you know. So I think that's more important than anything, opposed to the name on the front of the jersey. It's really the style of play and how organizations want to be labeled, or what is your brand of basketball. That's Minnesota's brand of basketball. I think that's why it fits for Julius Randle, the way that he plays here. You know, even him adding the jump shot, adding a 3-ball to his game. Ant-Man did the same thing. Sat down this summer, I wanted to be more efficient from the 3-point line. Like these guys just mix. This is the right place for him to be at the right time in his career.
I mean, he comes back from injury. That doesn't seem to slow him down at all. There has to be something, though, Lou, it's a different coverage, right? Like playing in Minnesota, I have to believe, feels slightly different than what you hear if you're in Los Angeles, but even worse when you're in New York.
Yeah, it's obviously it's different. You know, those are two huge media markets. But as far as Julius Randle goes, his job stays the same. Only thing that he's expected to do is go out and compete and help whatever team that he's on win basketball games. That part doesn't change. Now, does the coverage change from market to market? Absolutely. Like New York is obviously a tough place to play, especially when they feel like you're not getting the job done. It can be rough on you. Los Angeles is the same thing. You know, when you play for the Lakers, they're accustomed to putting up banners. If you're not helping them get close to putting up a banner, the way that you get covered can be a little different than a Minnesota or OKC or some of these places that will give you grace. And so that also helps as well. Like, it helps for him to be in Minnesota and having success and not having as many eyes from mainline publications, if you will, that's covering him in the way that he plays basketball.
I mean, it was so rough. They were so rough on him. I'll never forget it. It's kind of nice to see him find a spot.
Some of it was earned. Like, you know, some of it was earned. You have to play.
Look, Tatum's going through it now. Tatum, he's hearing it now. Like, it's stars are expected to do a certain amount of progress and bring something to the table, and they feel like you're not doing that. Ooh. Okay, Anthony Edwards, I need to understand what he's made of, because there's the scary moment in the second quarter with the ankle problem. I mean, he has to actually be helped off of the floor by a couple of folks. And then somehow, and by the way, same thing happened against the Lakers, and then somehow, some way, comes back. I don't get it, Lou. I mean, if most of us hurt our ankles like that, we're done. How? His playoff mentality? Is he tougher than everyone? What is this?
It's a little concoction of everything, Beadle. Look, it's the playoffs. He's young. When you have a name like Ant-Man, that makes you a superhero, right?
True.
So you got to be built a little. You got to be built a little different. And it's amazing what a retape at halftime can do for you, and give you a few minutes to kind of regroup and figure out what is my pain tolerance? What is my level of pain here? Can I get through another couple quarters of this? And then I have time to rehab. He's been able to tough these things out, continue to go. And they needed him last night. Like, even though they had a large lead by the time that he got hurt, they needed him to be in that lineup to finish the job, to make sure you send a message and you send a statement to the other team that we're not going anywhere and we still got all of our guys.
I was thinking about this because when I saw him leave the court and then come back, I'm like, okay, they must have taped the hell out of it to the point where it's almost ridiculous. Yeah. But is it not much worse? Like, for example, last night when he gets all the tape off, he goes home, goes to sleep, gets up this morning. Is it not going to be 1,000 times worse?
It'll probably balloon. Like, he's probably dealing with it today. He's probably having a long day of rehab and therapy today on an ankle. By the time we see him again, he'll be bouncing around and ready to play above the rim as usual, like we're used to him seeing. But that's part of it. You know, guys have things that happen in the course of a basketball game, and that's why we have the great training staffs that we do on each and every single basketball team, because they gotta have a job to get guys back ready, you know. So I'm sure that adrenaline has worn down some. It's gonna be sore, but he's gonna have round the clock therapy. He's gonna have round the clock icing on that thing, getting it ready to go. It shouldn't be no problems moving forward.
I mean, you're seeing his numbers down there, 25, 9, and 5. Like, it's not slowing him down. It's just it's crazy to watch, though. You're just like, oh, and then he comes trotting out again. Unfortunately for the Warriors, though, their guy is not going to be coming out anytime soon, at least at the very earliest, possibly a return for Steph Curry in Game 5. But, I mean, it was tough to see him last night in street clothes in such a pivotal game. I don't know, Lou. Did you get the vibes last night that if he does come back Game 5, is it going to be a little too late at that point? And honestly,
you know what? Honestly, I think Golden State keeps this thing interesting.
Okay,
like I do. I still think they got enough to keep it interesting. Now, I think what Steve Kerr is trying to figure out by playing so many guys, he's trying to figure out who I can lean on, who can I trust in this lineup right now with Steph Curry being out, who can I plug in and play that's going to keep us on the road that we need to be on right now. That's why I feel like, in my opinion, that's why he's playing so many different guys. Now in the next game, I expect that lineup to kind of be sharpened up a little bit. I think he goes to like a 8 to 9 man rotation where he can figure out this guy, that guy can help me. You know, you got Post, you got Kuminga, figuring out what you're going to do with Jonathan Kuminga. How many minutes can he play? Are you going to start playing through him a little bit more? A lot of different questions. And so it's a trial and error. I felt like he was throwing things against the board last night to kind of figure out what will help me as we get deep into this playoff series. Which one of these guys can I trust? Who can I put out on the floor and make impacts for? So I think with Steph Curry still being out, Jimmy, Draymond back in the lineup still, Buddy Hield, it's a difference between being the mission and being the addition. Like Buddy was the addition. Now he is the mission. He's going to make his adjustments with the way that he's being guarded. But I think that's the only thing. I think they still keep this thing interesting. But he was just trying to figure out what lineups work for him. And now you will see a new and improved Golden State Warriors team moving forward.
I mean, 14 guys in the first half, by the way. That's first time in playoffs since 1998. Here's my question, though, because, Kerr is the one that told us this is the deepest team, right? This was earlier in the season. Is it not a little weird or unorthodox, at the very least, to be trying this out now? Like the fact that you don't have sort of a semblance of an idea of what would work.
He don't have a choice. He don't have a choice. He had a group that was working for him. You ride that until the wheels fall off. And Beadle, the damn wheels fell off. Like the wheels fell off. When Steph Curry goes out, you have to try something different. When you have somebody who has the presence as large as a Steph Curry, you got to try everything. You can't leave nothing back. And so while I got a 1-0 lead headed back home, let me try it out. Let me play 14 guys and see who's ready for this moment, who's ready to step in and be an impact player. He tried it last night. It didn't work, but I guarantee you he has a better idea of who he can throw out there on the floor that's going to give him good impact minutes moving forward.
And oddly enough, one of the heroes of the night was the guy that couldn't seem to get minutes at all. We'll get to Jonathan Kuminga, but we, of course, have a Draymond Green update, ladies and gentlemen. It was coming. We knew that. Second quarter. A technical. Boom. Naz Reid in the face. A little bit of foul there. All right. So he has, look, does he have I don't even know what to say anymore. Is he right to be this upset about a technical? His fifth of the playoffs, by the way.
Nah, Dre tripping. Listen, one thing about Dre, anytime you foul him, he's going to foul you. Like, listen, if you're within reach of getting hit, kicked, pushed, shoved, and you foul Draymond, you're gonna get hit back. That's just the nature of it. And obviously, we know Draymond's pedigree. We know he's gonna be upset and he's gonna be highly competitive in all of these games and a lot of these scenarios throughout the game and situations. But this is just funny. He always finds a way to smack a guy or push him or shove him or something
really
when
does.
They're too close to. Yeah, I love it though. I love it. Back up a little bit.
It's like he has a magnet for other dudes' faces. Like it's just his hand finds it. His elbow finds something finds it.
You don't want to get smacked in your face. You need to back up a little bit. That's all.
But here's the thing: he get 2 more tees, but I don't know realistically how long we'll have these Warriors in this playoffs. But he gets a couple more, and he's got a game suspension on his hands. Steve Kerr actually had to remove him last night at one point because the refs were just hearing it. They were down 16 in this moment. I imagine that gives a little bit of oomph to it all. But they need Draymond, and so. We've seen this before, Lou. I think the people that don't love Draymond, these are the types of moments they glom onto because it's like your team needs you and you're out here risking it all. So as a teammate, are you frustrated? I mean, you even see Steph out there. Are you frustrated by this?
I don't know if frustrated is the word. I am a little concerned because, again, we know who Draymond is. We know how competitive and how fiery he is. Like, it doesn't matter what day of the week it is. It doesn't matter how many technicals he got. He's going to be the same Draymond Green. He's going to be the same person. And then he's going to explain to us in detail what was his thought process afterwards. But in that moment, he's going to be fiery and he's going to be himself at all times. And so with that, you know what you're signing up for when you're his teammate. That's why you see Steph Curry go over there and tell him, hey, bro, chill. You already got one. They've already let you say your piece. They've already let you do the demonstrative things. At this point, you got to chill. You got no more leverage in these situations. Let's chill out. Let's take a breather and let's come back. And that's what you love from Steph Curry. But also, if I'm a teammate of Draymond, I don't want him to change. I want you to be the security guard. I want you to be the head of the snake when it comes to how we fight, how we argue, how we challenge everything. We don't give an inch from play to play, and we just don't give you anything, referees included. I enjoy this. I want a guy like this on my basketball team. Do I want him to take it too far? Absolutely not. I want him to be able to keep it in check. And for the most part, Draymond is able to do that besides the times when he's being strategically thrown out of a game when he knows he's getting thrown out. But he knows what to say. He knows how to take it all the way up to that limit before he gets thrown out of a game. And that's what you can appreciate about him. But again, he's not going to change, and he's not going to be anybody different than himself every single time we see him on the floor.
And then he went off afterwards. What'd you think about all that? Like I think he was just mad. He was mad. I'm sure he's mad about the situation. I'm sure he's mad about the game, but he was just still going after the game, like not cooling down.
I saw some of it, and some of it seemed to be personal. Some of it seems to be what he was speaking to outside of basketball. Like when you start coming with narratives that doesn't have anything to do with basketball, and it's just about who I am, who I am as a person, who I am as a man, and things of that nature. Like he said, I'm successful. I have a beautiful family. That's who I am. Like, that's who I am. Don't take who I am as a competitor too far. Don't take that home with me. And so from that, I sympathize with him, and I understand where he's coming from when he speaks in that tone about his personality, who he is when he walks off the basketball floor.
But he, for example, I think he shows to be angry on courts all the time, but I don't think that's lending itself, in my opinion, of Draymond Green to a bigger sort of condemnation of who he is, the man. Yeah, I think you're an angry dude on courts. I mean, the thing about it is, I don't know if you saw this, Lou, as soon as all of that sound comes out, the internet, as the internet tends to do, just basically spliced every moment of anger that he's ever had on a court and put it all together and was like, bam. So this is just giving fuel to the crowds, which I don't know if it's a good idea or not.
And that's the fight that he's fighting, right? Like Beadle, he's fighting the internet, because the people that are in our business, the people that report him, you know who Draymond is. You know his personality. He's one of the coolest people that you'll ever meet. He'll give you a great conversation if you ever run into him, and you can have an intelligent dialogue with Draymond and walk away from that like, damn, I thought differently of him. You know what I mean? It leaves you with that smile on your face when you encounter him. But if you never met him and these are the only things that you see of him, this is where people draw their opinions. And you know, the internet is gonna internet. They're gonna have their fun. They're gonna meme it up. They're gonna create whatever narratives they want of him. And sometimes it can get under your skin, and it can be a bit much, and it forces you to be in a position where you got to defend yourself. And I feel like that's what he was doing yesterday. He probably saw some things that was outside of a competitive nature and how he was being spoke about, and he didn't like it.
Yeah, and allegedly there was something happened while he's on the bike. Who knows? But at least they're going home. It's a little friendlier confines there. We're going to take a quick break. Sam Amick is back on the other side. We're going to talk about all of the playoffs when he's here.
Running back, run it up, running back.
Oh, he's back. All right, the two cans in place. We got everything. Yes, it's official. Sam Amick is back on the show. Got to make sure everything's in its place. Good morning, good afternoon. How you doing?
Good morning, good afternoon, guys. The dog is here. Hopefully she stays quiet, but we're good. Good to be with you.
I like that. Even if
we're dog people,
the dog
it's all
barks.
good.
Yeah, we're pro barks here. We actually I hope mine does bark, to be honest with you. We're gonna start with a little bit of exactly, if she could hear me. Last night's games. It was only one, by the way. It's kind of nice to just focus on the one game and then go to bed at a normal hour. But TWolves tie thing up. And then the question, of course, is the Steph Curry of it all. And obviously with a hamstring, it being his first, which is also remarkable. It's really hard to predict. So let's start with the latest. Are we still thinking a possible Game 5 return?
I'll be honest with you. I thought that was what we were looking at when you looked at the calendar, and then just the medical info relating to a grade 1 hamstring strain. But then steph's in front of the cameras and starts talking like he did yesterday at shoot around. And, having been around him a fair amount, you can read his body language and hear his messaging. I don't know. He sounded like a guy that, I'll be honest right now, for me, I wouldn't be shocked if he wasn't in this series, because he seemed incredibly conservative in terms of the way he sees the injury, highlighted multiple times that he's never personally been through it. When he was asked about the question of, is there going to be a gray area here where you decide like, all right, there's a little bit of risk, but I want to get back, and then you play anyway. I think the answer ultimately is yes, but even the hesitation on his part when it came to that question, it feels like it could be a minute here. And then obviously you see how it unfolded last night and you get reminded, how badly they need the guy.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see, because that hamstring is nothing to play with. And Sam, I know you've been all over during these playoffs, but you were in the house for Nuggets Thunder game 2. Yep. What was and that Thunder team is rolling. That was a whooping if I ever seen one. What was your biggest takeaway from seeing game 2?
First takeaway, Lou, it's funny. all the years I've done this, the media seating is not as good as it used to be, right? So I got lucky enough to sit. I got lucky enough to sit courtside, and it had been years. I'm talking, right next to the PA announcer. And my God, and you're the one who had this incredible career, and you've lived it on the court. The energy of a playoff game, and it's different when you're in the stands, if you're in the corners, sitting on the court and feeling that energy, actually hearing all the interplay between coaches and refs. It was honestly an absolute joy. It was a lot of fun. And then basketball wise, to see OKC get back to doing what they do, I had focused on the fact in the first game that it seemed like the Nuggets figured out that Thunder defense a little bit after the first half. So I was focused on that going into game two. Like, did Denver kind of solve that a little bit? Like a baseball player who sees the 104-mile-an-hour fastball and kind of finally finds it. What I forgot is how great the OKC offense is. They were third in the NBA this year offensively. And game two, that was the story. They just put it on Denver. The Nuggets defense was terrible. Shea was an MVP, 13 points in the first quarter, being aggressive, finding his guys, plus 51, which has never happened before. That is absurd. So you got reminded that, this Thunder team is potentially a juggernaut, and they got to do it in the playoffs. But in terms of how dangerous they can be, we saw that in game two.
Yeah, we all had spoke about Sam Presti yesterday, and he had just won the Executive of the Year as the GM. How much credit does he get for how good this team is? Like, how impressive is the construction of this OKC team?
It's massive, right? Because and it's the lion's share of the credit, because not only we know the history of drafting Kevin Durant, drafting Russell Westbrook, James Harden, having a run at being a title contender in their kind of first era. To pivot and do the Paul George trade with the Clippers the way that he did, that really kind of filled up their cupboard of assets and draft picks, and then leads to getting guys like Chet Holmgren, and they obviously got Shea in that trade with the Clippers, which is just one of the most impressive heists in league history, because people knew Shea was good. They didn't know he was this good, but Sam is a guy that he's pulled off something that is damn near impossible to pull off, which is you built a contender and you still have assets. Like they're not, I don't think, going to want to make any material changes this summer, but the fact that they could get into any conversation about any star player this summer based on the stuff that they have available, not only incredible young players, but the absurd number of draft picks that they have, that's the product of Sam being incredibly good at what he does. We had a front office ranking story a couple months ago. We'd never done something like this, and polled, I think it was about 45 executives all over the league to see who's the best exec in basketball. And it was not only a landslide with Sam winning in the NBA, he actually took the award for all the major sports. We compared kind of the numbers to football and baseball. Yeah. So he's pretty good at his job. Yeah.
He really could put together a completely different team next year if he wanted to.
Just for fun, mix it up.
He should appeal to the league to be like, we kind of want an OKC Thunder light, and we will do it all ourselves. That would be awesome if he could just pull that off. Oh well.
Sam, let me ask you this as well about this team, because now we're trying to sort through who's the number 2 guy on OKC. Obviously Jalen Williams is the other all-star on that team, but Chet Holmgren, has Chet caught all the way back up, and is he the guy with the most potential on his roster besides SGA?
I mean, I like Lou. The word potential gets my attention, because then I think, the answer probably is Chet. J-Dub is a remarkable young player, all-star caliber. Chet in game 1 showed us that he's still young and he's got some room to grow here. Again, having a pretty good vantage point in game 1 as well. It's not often that you see an NBA player, not to put it on him, but pucker up like he did at the free throw line late in that game 1. And even defensively, he was over there when Aaron Gordon hit that shot from the left wing. So a bad game 1 for Chet, much better in game 2. Is a pretty brutal matchup for him. Obviously, Hartenstein is on Joker quite a bit. They got the other Jalen Williams on Joker trying to be physical with him. I'm sure you guys have seen online the comparison of the Chet leg with Joker's leg, and people saying like, this is not fair. One guy's looks like a little twig and one's looks like a tree trunk. So, he's
So
still
rude.
he's a pretty skinny dude, but I mean, the two-way play, the shooting ability, he's fantastic. And I do think ultimately he'll be the number 2.
Yeah, and listen, such a convincing win, game 2 that OKC put on the Nuggets. Like, if they don't make it past OKC, what do you think the offseason looks like for Denver? Like, what do you think they need to do to be back in a position to be true contenders next season?
It's tricky to handicap because they have so much business to get through with the people who are going to make those decisions. So they obviously fire Calvin Booth, their GM, Ben Tenzer, who's been with the organization for 16 seasons, VP of basketball ops for the last 4, is the interim GM, widely respected, in the seat right now, unclear what's going to happen this summer. And Josh Kroenke and his dad Stan are going to make those decisions on the ownership level. So I don't know what their vision is. I mean, to this point, the story of the Nuggets in terms of where they were probably going to evolve, you would look at MPJ. Michael Porter Jr. was discussed pretty heavily at the February trade deadline with different teams, as kind of the only, it's not necessarily, just an indictment of Michael, but, the contract he has and the part that he plays in his market, it's one of the few options they might have to mix things up when it comes to the core. You see in these playoffs, Aaron Gordon's still an incredible part of what they do. Jamal Murray has playoff Jamal moments and just signed the extension last summer. Joker's not going anywhere. So I think MPJ is the only core piece that I would be curious about this summer in terms of upgrading or evolving. And then it's role players. We know that depth is such an issue for them. Russ has a player option for next year that's not a lot of money. Not sure if he's going to be back or not, but they've got to find a way. You see with this Thunder team how incredibly deep they are. The Nuggets have to catch up on that front.
I want to switch over to the Eastern Conference for a second because the Celtics situation with the Knicks is incredible. Just 2 almost identical collapses, one after another at home for Boston. And we already have all the rumblings, right? Like they're facing some real big money decisions, whether they were champions again this year or not. And so now I'm wondering, with what has happened so far, and obviously there's still a lot of game left to be played, but your thoughts as far as what Boston's looking at and what you think they may end up doing this summer?
I mean, the ownership backdrop is front and center when you pay $6 billion for a team. There's wealth, and then it's going to take, some loans to make that purchase happen. And then you look at the roster and you see, the price tag in the payroll of this particular group when it's, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Drew Holiday, all the way down the line. It's hard to not see somebody of import headed for the exits. I don't think it'll be Jaylen or Jason, but obviously what's happening right now changes the calculus even more. If they go ahead and get shocked here in the second round against one of their rivals, no less, a team in the Knicks that they've been able to handle for quite some time now, then you don't have that argument anymore internally of, hey, I don't care what it costs. This is a back-to-back champion. You got to bring it back. So, those 2 factors and that landscape lends itself to change without question. And honestly, scrutiny is going to come if this thing continues to go down this path. We see it every day in the conversation. Yeah. I mean, Joe Mazzulla is going to be front and center. The style, the philosophy. I just saw a stat on ESPN about how Tatum is shooting 17% on threes in clutch time this year. And then I think that's regular season and playoffs. And it's that idea that, Jason Tatum is more than capable of getting to the rim, but the way they compete and the way they play, even when the shots aren't falling, they stick to their guns, and it worked last year, and you cannot take that away from them, but it's not working right now. And the Knicks look grittier, and they look tougher, and they look a little more hungry, and Boston's in a tough spot.
Understood. Sam, look, before we let you go, I know you're the vice president of the Professional Basketball Writers Association, and you guys dropped your all interview team. But you gotta tell, how does Ant-Man not make this list? You gotta tell me that. He's the most polarized out of everybody.
Man, Lou, I'm actually kind of like happy and also terrified that you asked this question, because it's like a real I want to hit 2 things real quick. The answer to your question, I'm just being transparent with you. He's a wonderful interview. He's candid. He's colorful. He was definitely in the discussion and got some votes. He also, if I'm being real, he skips media a lot, like a lot. And part of this is
you seem cool to me.
No, I mean, it's a tough time in this era where there's, as you know, there's certain rules about when guys are supposed to talk, and it's tougher than ever to get those guys to talk on a routine basis. So it's that combination of like quality and quantity to be on the all interview team. He definitely had the quality. Quantity didn't necessarily hit the mark. The other one I want to hit on real quick, because you guys were talking about it. I've had people hit me like, how's Draymond get on that? Like, I thought you guys were like, didn't always enjoy it. And first of all, I love covering Draymond. Second of all, you saw last night, like, agree or disagree, like honesty, real answers. And he does. I mean, Draymond, even though he has his pod and does all this other stuff, he goes above and beyond and does a ton of media. So that's a big factor here too.
Okay, there you go, Lou. Now it makes a lot more sense. There was a reason behind all that. All right, Sam, enjoy the rest. Hopefully we'll talk soon. These playoffs have been amazing so far. We'll
Appreciate
talk soon,
you guys.
Yes, sir.
Oh, Bobby Portis is back.
Welcome back, Bobby.
Hello, Bobby. We'll talk to him.
Run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back.
Your champions, the Milwaukee Bucks.
I don't need a fame for the comes with the extras.
Nothing but net for Bobby.
I don't get tired, go hard, no question.
Bobby Portis.
He is a competitor.
So glad to have you back, Bobby. Welcome. I know you don't want to be sitting here right now with us, but we're happy that you are. We're going to get into it, all the things, playoffs, everything that's gone down. But I just want to start with the Bucks. Everything that's gone on has been such a roller coaster ride for everything involved with Milwaukee Bucks and Bobby Portis. Can you give us a takeaway from this season?
Yeah. So first and foremost, man, I appreciate y'all having me back on. I know it's been a few months.
Man, the show ain't been the same without you, Bobby. We ain't been the same without you, man.
I haven't been on here since about February, man. It's been a minute, man. So I'm happy I was able to get back on here with you guys, man. But just this season for us, man, it was a big time roller coaster, obviously. Starting off how we started off 2-8, and then end up turning it around and going to Vegas and winning the championship. And
yeah, we remember that appearance. You were in good form then.
Great form, great form. Still got my 500K too. But yeah, then I get suspended, and then Chris Middleton gets traded for Kyle Kuzma. Then it's just all type of stuff. We get eliminated first round again to the Pacers. So it was a roller coaster ride. Then Dame gets the blood clots. Then Dame tore his Achilles. So it was a lot going on for us. But I just think in the mix to all that, I think we are grateful for the game of basketball, to play the game. Obviously, we can't win every year. Obviously, our goal going into every season is how can we win? How can we get to the championship? How can we get to June? But obviously fell up short again this year. But I'm proud of our guys for how they competed, proud of our guys for how we stayed together through all the highs and lows. And it was fun. Even though we didn't complete our goal of winning the championship, the season was still fun to get out there and play with my teammates, especially when I came back from suspension. Those 8 games that I did play, those was really fun to be a part of.
Bobby, I wanted to ask, because like you just mentioned, unfortunately you guys went down to the Pacers in the first round, but what came out of that ended up being the story was Giannis getting into it with Tyrese's pops.
Yeah.
What happened? Where were you?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, Pops is wrong. Pops dead wrong. Like, first of all, why are you even on the floor playing with? Like, Giannis showed him a lot of grace right here. I don't know if I got this type of patience in me, but what from your vantage point, what was happening right here?
So, like, keep in mind, I was just at the free throw line just talking crazy to the fans. All series, like the last couple of years, they've been,
it was your fault.
we got like a little thing brewing. Like, we didn't play the Pacers like 20, 25 times in a calendar year. You know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't play these guys a lot. Obviously, they in our division, so we automatically play them 4 times, and then we played them an extra 6 times last year in the playoffs, played them an extra time in the in-season tournament, played them 4 more times this year, played them 5 more times, and players like, damn, like, we sick of playing these dudes. We play these dudes all the time.
It wasn't nothing left to do but fight.
Yeah, so, like, after the buzzer went off, I'm still in shock that we even lost the game, right? Like, we up 7 points. It's like 118, 111, bro. In overtime, we up 7 points with 38, 40 seconds on the clock. these guys come back, walk us down, and win. I'm sitting on the sideline in front of our bench, like, yo, what just happened? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what just happened? So I'm not knowing what's going on down there. So I remember last year, I just walked off the court. I didn't shake anybody's hand. So this year, I want to be a better sport about, you know what I'm saying, going about my business. I went up to everybody, congratulated them for, you know what I'm saying, advance to the next round. Shook everybody's hand. I shook everybody's hand on the team. Next thing I know is I just see Giannis holding Ben McLemore, like, or not McLemore, Ben Mathurin's head. Like, I'm like, yo, what's going on?
He had the young boy grip on his head.
Yeah,
that's what you saw first.
Yo, like, y'all chill, like, what we doing? Like, chill. So I didn't even know that Halliburton dad did that until after the game when I, like, you know, it's the young boys always on social media. So they like, yo, look at this. So I'm like, I asked John, like, what happened? He was like, yeah, he was just holding his, like, waving the flag in front of my face, bro. Like, he just waving the flag in front of my face, and on the flag it had Halliburton, his son's face on it. Like, he was like, this is what we do. This is what we do. And I'm like, nah. I'm like, but it was crazy though. It's kind of cool that Halliburton took up for his dad and said he was wrong, and then obviously what the Pacers did, you know, suspending his dad for the unseeable future. I hate that part happened, that his dad can't attend the games. Obviously, it's his son. It's just one of those moments where, like, he got caught up in being a fan of the game and forgot that we are human too. You know, it was an emotional game, emotional series. Like, every time we play against them, it's just the emotions are high. We hate each other. We're talking crap, talking smack to each other. You suck, I suck. F you, F me. It's just like that when we play against them. So you gotta love it as a competitor, though.
You know that band
as
ain't
a
real.
Fan too, we loved it.
He's just gonna be in the suite, real low key, low key.
Yeah,
sneaking in.
Real low key. He might have a whole new
real low key
on. Like,
make sure that camera don't pan this way. That's all.
That's the only thing they got to do is just don't show whatever suite he's in. He should be fine. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know though. We talk about technical fouls. There were a lot of them. As you mentioned, this has turned into quite the rivalry. You guys have played each other 8,000 times. A lot of Pacers fans obviously going to take issue with things that Bobby Portis does. And so I got to imagine, like, do you look at your mentions, by the way? Because Lou's learning, like, you just
I got in trouble with the Indiana Pacers fans. I got in trouble with them. They mad at me
He got in trouble just for saying he didn't watch.
What I will say, though, Bobby, the most respectful trash talking people of all time. I can appreciate that. I didn't get any disrespect. I got a lot of people talking to me, but nobody was disrespectful. They just had a lot to say. So I give the Indiana Pacers credit again for the way that they've been carrying themselves in my mentions. Salute to y'all again.
Well, that's you, man. With me, man, I'm everything, man. I'm everything that you could think of, man. They hate me. I'm ugly. I got big eyes. F me. F my family. They hope I die. All type of stuff. So they on me hard, especially after we lost to them. Oh man, I had the same guy. I had the same exact guys from last year on me again. So I'm gonna make this a yearly thing.
What you doing? Why you ain't block him?
No, you can't block him. You can't give him. You can't.
But like I don't really like let social media get me too high or too low, because at the end of the day, I don't like, we'll never see these people, and if we do see these people, they'll probably want a picture or want something. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, they won't say anything.
I don't really get too high or too low on social media. I kind of just stay even keeled. Like I'm 30 years old. I'm 10 years in NBA, man. If somebody words getting to me, then I ain't supposed to be here. Like, this part of the gig, what we signed up for.
Point. Let's talk a little Halliburton, because he was voted as the most overrated, and now he's out there. He obviously took that personally in what he's been doing, what he's done to the Cavs. You guys had your moments together as well. Is it all fun and games? Is there an actual animosity here? Like, what is the vibe with Tyrese Halliburton?
No, so I actually played with Tyrese Halliburton in the FIBA USA joint in 2023. So, you know, obviously we've been teammates. I actually know his dad really well too. His dad, his family and my family hung out off the court, but on the court ain't no friends, man. Like we not, like, once the ball goes up, like, no such thing as being friends. That's how it always should be. That's how I grew up watching the game, watching all my favorite players play. They might be cool off the court, might hop on a podcast, whatever it is. But, you know, on the court, it's all about getting a win, especially in the playoffs. You can have 0 points and still impact win. and you can have 30 points and lose the game, right? So, playoffs is all about who wants it more, and sometimes the emotions, the the intensity rises, and you have to rise to the occasion. And credit to them, they rose to it, they beat us, and just the way they beat us, that really did hurt. You feel me? Like being up twice. We were up twice. Fourth quarter, we up 6 points with 40-some seconds. They come back and tie, go to overtime, and then we get up 7 points. You get up 7 points again, you thinking it's curtains. So I'm for sure thinking we going back to the crib on Friday for a Game 6 and a Game 7 on Sunday. We all knew how Game 6 was going to go. We was going to smack them boys. We was coming back for Game 7 at the crib at their house. So definitely a bad taste in your mouth, especially when you have to go all summer long and not play any more hoops until October, right? So, and then, you got to cherish these moments with your team as well, these runs that you go on, because you never know, man. Your team could look, completely. That's just how the NBA works.
Let's talk about the physical play so far in these playoffs. I got to know what you thought about it. We've had 40 technical fouls called already, and we're just kind of getting into the second round. What'd you think? What have you seen as far as what they're letting allow go now versus maybe even regular season? Did it feel different out there?
Yeah, I actually kind of like it. Especially like the pushing and shoving, the holding on screens, being able to, especially in the playoffs, like ain't no such thing as coverage, right? Ain't no such thing as being in the drop coverage. Ain't no such thing as being back in the paint. You got to get up and move them feet. So if you're a big man, you got to be able to push the switch into your teammate, make him switch, make him get under, and then get up on the screen. Sometimes in the regular season, they'll let guys flop on that, and then you get a foul for no reason, and then that foul leads them to get on the bonus. Now they shooting free throws with 6 minutes left, 5 minutes left, especially when you're playing against these good teams like the Pacers and the Cavs and the Celtics, who kind of get into the it's the bonus fast shoot free throws. You try to avoid that as much as possible. So I definitely honor the physical play that they let guys get physical, and I also honor that, they letting a little, shit talking, fly out there a little bit. They not just so heavy on the giving the technical foul so fast. They do warn you, but some guys keep going, and that's when you receive the technical foul when you keep going. But I honor that because it's showing passion, it's showing the emotion of the game, it's showing that guys are competing, and that's what you want as a fan of the game. You want to see guys go out there and compete at a high level, want to win, and go out there and give it their all.
There's obviously going to be, with a lot of teams, a lot of offseason chatter, moves that may or may not be made. You have a player option, and then there's all this stuff with Giannis, which we'll get to. But do you depend, are you going to base your decision on what you want to do on a guy like Giannis? Like, how do you go about figuring out your future?
Right now, I think the biggest thing with me right now is just enjoying the now, right? Not worrying about what's to come in June, but just staying in the now, focusing on my family. Obviously, it was a long, crazy year for me, so just hanging out with the fam, getting my mind right off the court. But obviously, it is a huge decision that I have to make. Love Milwaukee, love playing with the Bucks. Obviously, I've been here for 5 years now. We won a championship throughout that run. Got to the second round the second year, but obviously the last couple of years have been first round exits. So being a, complete, honest right here, like if you're looking at business wise, like how do someone that's a GM of the team look at the team losing 3 straight years in the first round? So it all depends on how everything shakes up. I would love to be in Milwaukee. I love it here. They call me the mayor here, right? So it's kind of hard to leave a city where you're the mayor. But, obviously it's going to be up in the air with how they maneuver the roster, whatever they want to bring back. It's really going to be all on the organization to, want to bring, certain guys back, whatever it is. So not my decision upheld until to know if I want to, come back to the Bucks or whether they want to re-sign me. That's so far down the line. Obviously, the season has to end. We have 2 more rounds to go to sit and watch, which I hate, right? We have to sit and watch the Eastern Conference Finals. We have to sit and watch the finals. That's so far from now. So right now, I don't really know how it will go, how it will shake out. But I'm standing there now. I'm blessed. Like I said, I love Milwaukee. I love playing here. It's been fun playing basketball with this city, with this team, and hopefully we can continue the runs and go on for the future. But I don't have that decision made or know what's going to shake until after the season's over.
Yeah, Bobby, listen, I gotta shoot my shot because you done heard the rumors like we done heard the rumors.
Let's do it.
Giannis in a big market. I done heard LA, I done heard Miami, New York for sure. Have you spoke to him about his plans for the offseason at all, or you just kind of let him be a man and just figure it out on his own?
I was actually going to hit him up, in a couple weeks, just to let the season die down, because how we did end, that shit hurt. I ain't gonna lie. Like, being up, bro, and then you lose, especially the way that we lost, and then what kind of made me feel better for real is that they did the same thing to the Cavs. So I'm like, whoa, shit, we ain't that.
Yeah.
At first, it was like only 1 out of 1,000
That's when I take the cutoff of it, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That was like 2 out of 1,000 teams. So we not like solo, you feel me?
2 out of 1,000.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's
better than 1.
It's not one. Like, it's 2 teams now. Like, it's not just one by itself. So I do feel better in that regard. But I just think, man, that Giannis bleed green, though. I think he bleed green, man. I think he bleeds, loyalty. I think he bleeds, wanting that Tim Duncan, Kobe-esque type career, Steph Curry type career where they play with one franchise. Obviously, it sounds really, really good that, Giannis leaves and goes to another team. But, like, realistically, like, if you trade for him, just looking at business-wise, you trade for him, obviously he's going to make, $58, $60 million. That means you got to trade your whole team, right? Like, you got to trade your whole team, and then being able to get him, you still have to put players around him to compete for a championship, right? So it looks like whoever, if you do make a move, you might be in the same position that the Bucks in. So I don't really know how that all shakes out financial-wise or whatever it is, but to me, just looking at it.
So don't even bother. If you're the rest of the league, don't even bother. That's the point.
Someone who doesn't play ball, that's not on the team with him, that's just looking as a fan of the game, like, it looks like financial-wise, wherever it is, like, whoever trades for him might be in the same position. If they, they might have younger players that can grow and they can pay younger guys or whatever it is, but eventually, I just think it'll be the same thing. You have to still put guys around him to compete. You still have to have guys around him that fit around him that can help him compete.
Bobby, I got to cut you off. I have to cut you off because they're throwing us into a commercial break, and it sucks because I had about 7 minutes. I need to get into that picture behind you, but we're going to do it next time. Enjoy. That's amazing. It's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. We enjoy the off season. Get a good vacation. We'll talk soon.
Yeah, that's a nice picture too. We're going to talk about that next week.
Yes, we are. It's art.
Run it up, then run it back, yeah.
Lou, you got the Pacers tonight. Got any predictions for you? Are our Pacers pro?
I like, man, is everybody back? I don't know. I like the Pacers.
I mean, it's not official yet, but the vibe is yes.
I like Indy until Cleveland gets healthy. It is what it is.
Dang! You heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. Lou and the Pacers. Woohoo! See you Monday.
Run it back.